If you've been following the podcast for a while, you'll know that a little while back, I announced I was talking to investors about my startup AI Box. We ended up getting such a huge influx of people talking to us that we kind of changed our strategy regarding fundraising, and we have a really exciting announcement coming soon. But if you were an investor that had previously reached out to me and jumped on a call, make sure to reach out again. I have some really exciting news to give to you, or if you're an investor today looking to invest in an absolutely groundbreaking AI startup, I'm going to leave my email, jaden@aibox.ai, in the description, and I'll give you the inside scoop. Today on the podcast, we are talking about a very new, interesting AI startup, and that is Patronus AI, which is currently building an LLM evaluation tool for regulated industries. This is to help evaluate LLMs for industries that are highly regulated. So today we're going to be diving into that. One thing I did want to mention before we get started, I got to say it, big kudos to all of my listeners over on Apple Podcasts. You have just successfully passed 71.5% of my listeners. I don't know why, but for some reason, Apple Podcasts, it seems like a meme, but it was stuck at like 69% of my listeners. I kid you not, for the last 4 months straight. So you finally have, I don't know what it took, but somehow, you know what? I just did an episode on the iPhone 15's launch. I wonder if that kind of pushed it. All of you guys want to hear the latest and greatest on AI and the iPhone 15, go check out the podcast if you liked it. But in any case, you're over 71%. But I will tell you, the one thing, my one bone to pick with you, Apple listeners, is that Spotify has just crossed 130 reviews on my podcast. And that is with Spotify being only 8% of my listeners, and Apple, you guys are 71%. I only have 72 ratings on Apple. So there is a ton of you who have not left me a review on Apple. If you hate it, let me know. If you love it, let me know. Go, please leave a review on my podcast. It helps a ton for people to find the podcast, and it helps me get really solid guests. Speaking of which, I have a phenomenal guest dropping tomorrow, one of the co-founders of Oculus, so stay tuned for that. But anyways, let's jump into the rest of the podcast. Welcome to the AI Chat Podcast. I'm your host, Jaden Schaefer. Have you ever wanted to start your own podcast? I record and publish podcasts on a platform called Spotify for Podcasters, and I absolutely love it. Essentially, you can upload from your phone or computer, and it distributes to every platform that plays podcasts. They support video podcasts, and you can make money on the platform with ads or even podcast subscriptions, something that has made my life so much easier as a podcaster. So if you're interested, I highly recommend you give it a try. You can download the Spotify for Podcast app, or go to spotify.com/podcasters to get started on your podcast today. In a significant move for the AI sector, Patronus AI has emerged from stealth mode today. So they've announced a $3 million seed funding round and unveiling its products designed to essentially evaluate and test large language models. So the startup is the brainchild of two seasoned AI experts, which are Rebecca Quain and Arnon Knappen, both of whom previously kind of honed their skills at Meta. They were working over there. Quain focused on responsible language processing, NLP, a researcher at Meta AI, while Knappen contributed to the development of explainable machine learning frameworks at Meta Reality Labs. So Patronus AI's timing seems almost serendipitous. The startup aims to provide a security and analysis framework as a managed service, and really they're kind of catering to specifically to kind of regulated industries where errors can result in considerable repercussions, right? So one of the key areas that Patronus AI addresses is the, likelihood of hallucinations in large language models. And that whole scenario, where a model is going to just make something random up, is what they're trying to solve for. So this is what they said. They said, quote, "In our product, we really seek to automate and scale the full process and model evaluations to alert users when we identify issues." That was Rebecca Quain. And she also kind of elaborated the company's approach is three-pronged. So the initial step is scoring. So that is then followed by the generation of case text and finally benchmarking. So scoring assists users in assessing models based on criteria like hallucinations, especially in high stakes fields like finance or healthcare or the military, other areas like that, right? And subsequently, the system auto-generates adversarial test suites and performs stress tests on the model. So benchmarking, the final step, uses various metrics to determine the most suitable model for a specific task. So the startup is not just addressing the functional aspects of large language models, but they're also kind of looking at the ethical dimensions. They said, quote, "We help companies make sure the large language models they're using are safe. We detect instances where their models produce business-sensitive information and inappropriate outputs." So Knappen also noted, really he just kind of stressed the importance of Patronus AI as an impartial third party, stating, quote, "It's easy for someone to say their large language model is the best, but there needs to be an unbiased, independent perspective. That's where we come in. Patronus is the credible checkmark." This is something really interesting because in the past, there is a lot of, like, obviously there's every AI model, like you said, is going to say like, no, we're fine, we're good. We have safeguards in place, yada, yada. Even OpenAI is like, trying to put stuff in there where they're like, no, we got like a middle layer, we got a trusted safety layer, yada, yada. But it's like, at the end of the day, you can't really trust just a company's word for it when they say that they do everything perfect. So I think having these third parties come in really is a good play. And I think that's why a company like this is going to be valuable. A lot of people are like, whoa, don't you think you're going to be like completely obsolete once OpenAI like just builds their own version of this? It's like, not really, because how much do you trust every AI company? And maybe you are a good-hearted person that believes OpenAI is 100% perfect at everything. Fantastic. But there's no way you can believe every AI company is good at everything. So this company, I think, really is going to be valuable in the future. It's going to exist for evaluating a lot of different large language models. So Patronus AI may not, or actually, I think it actually does have 6 full-time employees at the moment. So not a ton. But it has plans for expansion on the horizon. When asked about the company's future hiring plans, the founders remained open-ended, but emphasized the importance of, having a really solid, diverse organization. And I think, the $3 million seed funding is spearheaded by Lightspeed Venture Partners with contributions from Factorial Capital and other industry angels. With these resources, I think they're really kind of poised to navigate the intricate labyrinth. Like, let's be honest, this is an absolute labyrinth of challenges and opportunities that are ahead of this specific AI landscape, especially when they're addressing, all of these fields that are typically a little bit more challenging. These are like really regulated industries and areas that'll be hard. So it'll be interesting to see how they grow and adapt to those challenges.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Forget the frustration of picking commerce platforms when you switch your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling wherever you sell. With Shopify, you'll harness the same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/tech.
TIAA is on a mission. Why? Because 54% of Black Americans don't have enough savings to retire. So in collaboration with big-name artists like Wyclef Jean, TIAA released Paper Right, new music inspiring a new financial future. With 100% of streaming sales going to a nonprofit that teaches students how to invest. Stream Paper Right now and help close the gap.
Thank you for listening to the AI Chat Podcast. If you enjoyed the podcast, I'd appreciate it if you rate me wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you're looking for an innovative group of AI enthusiasts, make sure you check out our Discord channel and also our Facebook community. It's obviously a lot more interactive than a podcast where we can actually share software tools, prompts that we're using in everyday AI. I'll leave a link for those in the description below.